Let me raise my big question, our talking point. Is the Narendra Modi government simply targeting NGOs which do not subscribe to the government line? Joining me now, Priya Pillai. She is the Greenpeace activist who is in the eye of the controversy. Also joining me is Anjali Bhardwaj, co-convener of NCPRI, which is an umbrella group which looks at various NGOs. Dr.Aijaz Ilmi, national member of the BJP, is with me. And RSN Singh, former RAW officer, is also with us. Thank you all very much for joining us. Priya Pillai, I want to know very clearly in your case, is it true that there was a case against you? As a result of the case, you are effectively out on bail, and it is said that the government, in a sense, has you on a list of people who should be debarred from traveling out of the country. A, are you out on bail? B, were you informed that you are on any list that the government has prepared?
The first question, yes, I have a case against me in the Mumbai court.
For what?
For trespass. For trespass, for molestation, for cheating. The charges have not been framed. I have been granted bail within 24 hours. And
what was the specific case in which you were charged?
Charges have not been framed yet.
No charges framed, but
no.
what was the trespass? What was the agitation?
We were protesting in front of the SR head office in Mumbai, and I was asked to go in with community members from Mahan, and I went in along with the officials through their other gate, and later on they booked me for trespass because I was protesting. I understand that. But the issue here is not that. In this whole case, my bail condition does not mention that I cannot leave the country. My passport has not been compounded. So how can, I'm free to leave this country. The court has not restricted my right to freedom of movement. First, to answer your first question. Your second question, which says, did I know about the lookout notice? No, I did not know. Today, I read from the media reports that there is a lookout notice. Till this moment, I have not received any communication from the government, from any authorities on the lookout notice.
Let me hold you there, because Aijaz Ilmi, a lookout notice is issued when a person is wanted in a case but is absconding, which she clearly is not. She's working here. A red corner notice is pending against them. A person is a suspect in a criminal case and is feared to flee the country, or there are restraining orders from the court against them. None of this apply in the case of Priya Pillai, and yet the Intelligence Bureau has put her on a lookout notice. Allegedly, it would appear, because the Narendra Modi government wants to send a message that Greenpeace and its activists cannot travel outside this country.
So, BJP or the government, being responsible enough, are not in the business of stopping people from going about their jobs. Obviously, the IB report, which you're referring to, has come up, has a lot of issues which is talked about. It spoke about this trespass in the month of February when she held a protest. It spoke about her being prejudicial to her national interest, which is the IB's opinion, not my opinion, not the party's opinion, not the government's opinion. It's the IB report which says these things on the basis of that, which is exactly why, being a responsible government, the Home Ministry has asked the IB to submit a report.
The government is going to now follow what the Intelligence Bureau says, who is national and who is anti-national.
The IB will do its job, and based on those reports, which is why the government, the Home Ministry, has asked for a report from the IB as to why she was put on that lookout list. Exactly.
The people are saying that you participated in a Right to Food campaign organized in Gujarat from March 1st to 3rd last year, held in an exhibition in Sanand and Ahmedabad. Is that when you were first targeted?
No, I have not been to Gujarat for anything. I have not been to Gujarat at all. Let them prove. See, the problem, Rajdeep, here is that everything is being said by everybody, but where is the fact? Where is the evidence? Let's bring the evidence to the table. I know that my right to freedom of expression is being curbed here. I am being targeted because I have been constantly talking in a language which the state does not like, but I have a right to freedom of expression. I have been, yes, I have an opinion which differs from the opinion of the government or the state, but that does not mean I'm anti-national. You don't brand people anti-national because they have a political opinion.
Can I just bring in our RSN Singh? Do you brand someone anti-national because their opinion does not coincide with that of the government? Is that the basis on which an IB report is going to be prepared? That if there is an Indian activist who is associated with an American-based NGO like Greenpeace, which is there across the world.
Greenpeace is not American.
Okay, Greenpeace is there across the world. It's a global NGO.
Greenpeace India is registered in India.
You're saying Greenpeace India, but Greenpeace obviously is affiliated to global NGOs. Is that sufficient reason to be put on a lookout notice by the IB to the point where a campaigner is restrained from going abroad?
See, a campaigner, perfectly understandable. But the matter of fact is that Greenpeace was castigated for indulging in currency speculation. It is there on the records. They have lost millions of dollars because of currency speculation.
So you do not see them as an environmental NGO? You don't see them as an environmental NGO?
No. And madam is absolutely within her rights. I mean, to go against the government. But the fact is, why should you go and tell British MPs about the impact of coal mining on our environment? Do British MPs come here to solicit your advice?
So you're saying that Greenpeace a Greenpeace activist should not be going to Britain to make a presentation before British MPs about alleged human rights violations taking place at a coal mine at Mahan in Madhya Pradesh.
Not.
You believe do you see that as anti-national?
Got over this.
Do you see that as anti-national? Do you see that as anti-national?
No, it is. I mean, it's not a very clean thing to do. Let me tell you.
It's not a very clean. Is it anti-national? Is it anti-national? Is it illegal?
I think so.
Is it illegal?
Don't indulge in this semantics, illegal and anti-national. If you are asking me this, it is clearly anti-national. Whether it is illegal or not, I do not.
Okay, you're saying it's anti-national. Before I bring in Anjali, I just want to know from you, Priya, what were you going to Britain to do? Here you have a former intelligence official who says it's not illegal, but he sees it as broadly anti-national. Why do you need to go to Britain to protest about human rights violations taking place in Madhya Pradesh?
Yes. So I was definitely going to Britain to meet an all-party parliamentarian group. The reason for that is very specific. I was going there because SR, the company that is proposed the mine in Mahan, wherein there are gross human rights violations. They are doing forgery there. There's environmental, they are doing environmental violations there. That company is not registered in India. It's registered in the UK.
So you can't protest before Indian MPs. You have to go before British MPs.
Let me just complete. They are not governed by the Indian law. They were enlisted in the London Stock Exchange till the mid of last year. They are not governed by the Indian law. So we have been in touch with the MPs there. The other thing is we've approached Indian MPs. We've been talking to the Ministry of Environment and Forest. We've been talking to the Ministry of Tribal Affairs. There are lots of MPs who support us. I don't want to take names here, but there is evidence of support here. The other thing is there are parliamentary delegations that go from here and visit other countries and meet MPs from other countries. Are they doing illegal activity? Are they anti-national?
No. Then
why only Greenpeace?
Hold on. The argument that the intelligence officials will make that these MPs obviously don't go abroad and then question policies of the government of India is that it appears that is now being seen by the present dispensation of Narendra Modi as in some way an act that requires to be restrained. Is this simply the tip of the iceberg? Are NGOs facing the heat when it comes to foreign funding as well? And when it comes to and should they not have greater transparency perhaps in the funding, as the government is now claiming? You've got the IB officials saying we want to know the funding of these organizations.
Rajdeep, let me start by saying that if there is any illegal activity happening, I think there is no question in the matter. There should be action taken, whoever might be indulging in that. Having said that, the question of transparency, I 100% agree that there should be transparency in the functioning of the government, in the functioning of the non-government sector. In a democracy, people have a right to know. And here, let me also say that all political parties are non-government entities. They are all sitting in violation of the Central Information Commission's order, which said that they ought to come under the RTI Act. So in any case, we have been saying that all NGOs, all political parties who are non-government organizations and the government should be transparent. So there is no question in that matter either. The issue over here is the larger issue of space for dissent, the right to raise your voice and the right to dissent. And I'm afraid that in the current dispensation, the larger picture that is emerging is that space is shrinking.
Give me an example. Give me an example when you say that the space is shrinking under the Narendra Modi government.
No government is I'm not saying that any government is very fond of dissent or giving that space, but in this government, the reason why we say that that space is shrinking is that apart from these isolated incidents or reports, if you look at the entire institutional structure, which gives people in this country information to dissent, which gives people in this country avenues to dissent, and which gives people in this country protection to dissent, is getting shrunk or it is being dismantled. Let me just complete with two little examples. The Right to Information Act, under which governments have been held accountable by the people of this country, the Central Information Commission has been without a chief for 5 months now. It is getting weakened. It is an institution that was of great importance to ensure transparency and accountability in the working of the government and in this country, is getting dismantled. The Whistleblowers Protection Law, under which Priya and many other people who are targeted from time to time for exposing human rights violations, for exposing wrongdoing, that law was passed 1 year ago. Why is it that the government, the BJP, played a very important role in passing that law? The question is, why has it not been operationalized till date? The government now says that it needs to amend the law. What are they waiting for to operationalize that important
these
law?
are serious issues which are being raised, because Narendra Modi's government has faced these charges in Gujarat as well. When Mr. Modi was chief minister in Gujarat, a number of NGOs had said that the information architecture was being weakened. Now the same argument is being made at the center, and if there is an activist who has a different viewpoint to the government, that activist or that organization claims that it is being targeted in some form or the other. Examples are being given here by Anjali Bharadwaj. Is there a problem with the way the Narendra Modi government sees NGOs? Are they seen as hostile in some way to the government?
Taking this very issue of Ms. Pillai, it's apparent that Greenpeace has been functioning for the last 4 years on the Mahan case, which is right now under the ambit and jurisdiction of the Madhya Pradesh High Court. And whether it's the private sector company or the public sector company or Greenpeace or various NGOs working in Mahan, they are also under the jurisdiction of the Madhya Pradesh High Court.
But they are entitled to raise the issue of human rights violations. Are we saying that if an NGO raises issues of human rights violations, they are not entitled to raise it? They can't go abroad to London and raise it?
No, they can. Why not?
But they're not allowed. No, they're not allowed. They are not being allowed.
Which is why the Ministry of Home has asked for a report from the IB. Why are you blaming the Narendra Modi government?
The Ministry of Home Affairs, the IB and Ministry of Home Affairs are part of the same state. Surely now the Ministry of Home Affairs is pretending after this incident has happened.
The IB report of June quoted a Feb incident. Mr. Modi was not in power in Feb. Okay, so Greenpeace activities have been under the IB watch for a very, very long time. So why are you holding Mr. Modi accountable for something that has happened prior to us?
Examples are being given. There is no Central Information Commission. In fact, the fact is the Whistleblower Act or the Information Commission is being weakened under Mr. Narendra Modi's leadership.
RTI
is the charge which activists are making.
Questions are being asked every day and the RTI and answers are being given.
No, exactly.
The Prime Minister's office, the Ministry of Defence, many other very critical ministries are under the watch of the Chief Information Commissioner, who retired on the 22nd of August, and an appointment has not been made. It's unprecedented since the law has been passed. So if today I ask for information from the PMO or many of the other ministries that are very important for people to ask questions from, I'm not given information. There is no appeal mechanism under the law that exists today.
Can I though come back to the other issue also, which is who is going to decide what is anti-national? Have we got to a stage now, Mr. Singh, where speaking out on issues of human rights violations, of speaking out on issues, let's say, of displacement, are going to lead to charges of being anti-national? Is there a sense that there is a section within this government which is particularly close to the Intelligence Bureau, which believes that the likes of Ms. Pillai and Greenpeace activists are seen as anti-national and therefore must be put in their place?
Madam is advised to read the reports of the MHA even before this government came.
I can't access any of those reports. How will I read them? I don't even have the. I don't even have the notice.
Let him complete. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Singh.
Greenpeace was under the scanner few months back when this regime was not there. I was on a debate on your channel on this very issue of the Greenpeace, and I remember having a very heated debate that day. The other thing, let me tell you, you are asking about anti-national. I have absolutely no issues. But when you go to these foreigners, and complain about things that are happening in your country, when you go to Meghalaya and you don't allow us to, mine even 1 gram of uranium, and you push us towards the Australians, I have a problem.
So you
there.
believe that
and only I don't have a problem. Only I don't have a problem.
Of India's GDP, which is what the IB report suggested, which is what the report suggested. Then a 2 to 3% loss in the GDP is being caused by NGOs like Greenpeace. Is that what you're saying?
But we
and that makes them
India is not alone. The Sri Lankans have gone very tight on these NGOs. They have been lamenting about the role being played by
NGOs are not supposed to raise environmental concerns. NGOs are not supposed to in this country raise environmental concerns anymore.
You mean to say that only the Goras will teach us what is environment? And should these NGOs go complaining to the Goras?
Those are very strong words. The argument which is being made again and again, now the argument is made that a presumptive loss of 2 to 3% of India's GDP has been caused by NGOs like yours.
I have something to say about that.
Yes.
Before that, it's shocking.
Tell us.
It's shocking that we are using Sri Lanka as an example of a democratic country. We
are talking about Sri Lanka under
Rajapaksa. So now,
which is also elected government.
No, it may be an elected government, but
which is democracy.
Which is
democracy. Okay, go ahead.
The issue here is when he's talking about 3.3% of GDP loss, there's a World Bank report that clearly says that climate change is causing 5.4% GDP loss to this country. And we as Greenpeace are working to reduce climate change. Why are we not looking at those data? Why are we picking and choosing stuff that we want? It's ridiculous.
Have you done
if the NGOs are so powerful that they cause 3% loss to the
United
GDP,
States and
why are we
Europe?
not looking at the World Bank data of climate change? 5.4%
Can I for a moment now come beyond Greenpeace in conclusion? That this is not just about Greenpeace. We've listed other in this investigation. We've seen that there are several NGOs today who are complaining that the government is clamping down on them. Anjali, is the solution, as you said, that for both the government and NGO to be transparent? If she's going to be offloaded of a plane, we need transparency to know exactly why she's been offloaded. Yes. Similarly, if an NGO is accused of diverting its funds, we need a full and transparent investigation into that. At the end of the day, is that what it is coming to? Rather than making this about who is national and who is anti-national. I mean, surely we are not China. India is not China, for God's sake.
Absolutely, and we are talking about a democracy. We are talking about a country where there are laws.
So we are not a banana republic. Point taken.
Yes, and I think that if we do not want to be an undemocratic country, we don't want to be a banana republic, which I don't think any one of us want. In that case, the only solution is that the government come clean, the government be transparent, the political parties be transparent, non-government organizations, others be absolutely transparent, there be a clear infrastructure, there be a clear institutional setup, a mechanism for transparency and for accountability. Okay. The Lokpal bill, the law that was passed, instead of operationalizing it and putting in place a Lokpal, the Lokpal covers both the government and the non-government sector. If the government is worried about keeping people under check in a legal manner, including itself, it should appoint a Lokpal. We have a 14-page amendment
We are going to be doing a further investigation in the days ahead, where we are going to ask why is a Lokpal not appointed at the moment in this country?
You have a 14-page amendment.
Why don't we have a Chief Information Commissioner? Several important arrangements
whistleblower protection is
that
not
is
being
part
given
of the transparency architecture have not been appointed by the Narendra Modi government. We're going to leave it there. But we are troubled by what has happened. Mr. Singh, we will raise these issues in the days ahead as well. I appreciate your joining us. Anjali Bharadwaj, Ms. Pillai.